Hi everyone, this is Jathu from Property Framework, and today I want to talk about whether it's really even possible to generate passive income through property investing. Now, when I say passive income, this means that you're getting an income stream from your properties that's able to fund your lifestyle. Now, most people, when they get into property investing, they don't have this goal of generating passive income at a later stage. Usually it's just to reduce their taxes, or I'm just buying this property a few years down the line, it'll grow up in value and it'll be useful at some point. That's the mindset that they go in with. So there's usually most people don't believe that properties can actually generate passive income for them and fund their lifestyle. But today's video, I want to show that this is actually possible if you strategically plan it, buy the right properties, and have a plan in place. So at one point, you're going to replace your income, your active income, with that passive income. Now, that sounds really too good to be true. And it'll be amazing if you can work out something like that. And today's video is just about that. So let's get into some numbers and see how this could be possible. Now let's look at a scenario where we buy a property for $420,000 in year one. There are some assumptions that I'm making here. The deposit on this property is 12%. The interest on loan is 6%. Now the interest rates are higher than this, but I'm factoring in a period of 15 to 20 years and taking the average of that, and I'm assuming that it's going to be around 6%. The rent per week is 480. The repayment type is interest only. I'm assuming that the property grows at 7% per annum and the rents are increasing every year by 3% per annum. Okay, the total cost to fund this property comes to around 76,400. And now I'm looking at the cash flow. So the total rent on this property is 24,960, and this is all the expenses on the property, which includes loan repayments, property management fee, insurances, council rates. Factoring in all of that, in my first year, I'm negative 4,342. But as the rents increase, now I'm assuming that the interest rates are not dropping, so that's being very, very conservative, right? So interest rates are remaining at 6%. So as the rents increase, you're seeing that the cash flow is becoming better. Now let's look at this after 15 years. Like, you've held this property for 15 years, how does my cash flow look like? So at year 15, assuming that the interest rates are at 6%, then you're generating a cash flow of 7,325 from the property. Now that's not a huge amount. It's good to have $7,000 coming in, but ideally as passive income, you want something higher than that. So we're going to buy more properties now. Okay, so we're going to buy 5 properties, similar properties with the similar specs. Purchase price at 420, just to make things easier. Purchase price at 420 and renting out at 480 per week. Now, how do these 5 properties look after 15 years? So I'm going to go into this and look at my cash flow. So the cash flow again is the total rent minus the total expenses. So for the first 5 years, I'm in negative cash flow territory. But at year 15, I'm generating a cash flow of $36,000 from the 5 properties. So what that means is that these 5 properties, instead of me having to put in money to these properties are actually giving me $36,000 in income. Okay, now I want to make this cash flow better. I want to increase it. Okay, so what can I do to do that? Now let's look at the asset value of these properties. So I mentioned earlier that these properties are growing at 7% per annum. We have bought them well, we have bought them at the correct location at the correct time, and we bought a good quality asset. So they're growing at 7% per annum. And at the end of 15 years, the portfolio value is going to be very close to around 6 million. Okay, so 5 properties, each for 80,000. After 15 years, the portfolio value is 6 million, which means that on average, each one of those properties is going to be around 1.2 million. Okay, now we've got 5 properties here, each around that 1.2 million. Now, let's say we decide to sell one of those properties. Okay, we sell the property worth 1.2 million. The loan on each one of these properties is around, if you go back to the original slide, it's around 369,000, right? So you should be able to pay off, let's say, three properties. You sell off one property and you pay off the loan in three properties. Okay, now let's come back and see how our cash flow looks like after we pay down three properties. Okay, so property one. Now, when you pay a property off at the end of 15 years, that's going to generate 29,501 in income. Okay, because you no longer have any mortgage repayments. You only have your management fee, insurances, and council rates. So each one of these properties that is sold is going to generate, let's say, to make it simpler, let's say it's 30,000 in income. Now we've paid off three of these properties. Remember, we had 1.2, we sold that off, and we paid off three of these properties. The three of these properties is going to give you 90,000 in income, right? And we still have the fourth property, right, which is generating around 7,000 in income. So you have 97,000 income coming in from four properties. You sold off the fifth property and you have four properties, which is giving you 97,000 income. So that is a substantial amount, and that is a solid passive income coming into your coming in as additional income, right? So that is what you could do with property. It is the compounding effect, over time as the value increases, as rents increases. It just doesn't happen in a period of 2 to 3 years. Of course, you can make it happen if you're really aggressive about it. But if you do it slowly, you're on an average income and you want to do it slowly, then it's still possible to do this over a period of 15 to 20 years. And I've just shown you a way how you can make about 100,000 passive income through property investing. Now, I'm sure you have questions around this. The first one would be, where can I find properties for 420,000 and houses that's going to give me this growth and giving me this cash flow? And if you really look around the country, like, and if you don't restrict yourself to certain areas, areas where you live or areas you're familiar with, and open up to the 15,000 suburbs in Australia, then you'll find that there are plenty of opportunities in that 500 price points that's going up in value quickly, where demand is really high, stock is really low, and prices are just starting to move upwards, and momentum is building up. So if you can get into those markets, if you can research and get into those markets, then you will benefit in the long run. But if that's something that's difficult for you, then that's exactly what I do. I buy properties in areas where the stock is really low, demand is really high, and prices are just starting to move up. So you'll get really good growth over the next few years, and you'll also have very good cash flow coming in into these properties. So each property that I buy will help you build out that portfolio. I buy each property with the intention of helping you build out that portfolio in the long run. Okay. Now the next question that you may ask is, how can I get the borrowing capacity, or how can I service these properties? So there are a few ways around this. Usually the most common one is increasing your income. If you can get more income, then you can have more serviceability. The next one is buying properties with really high yields, really high cash flow. If you have high cash flow, then the banks will factor in the rental income from your investment properties and include that in your income, right? And so that's going to stretch your borrowing capacity. So the next time you buy, you have a bit more borrowing capacity coming in through the investment property that you've already purchased, given that it's yielding really high. Okay, and even if these two don't work, then there's a third way where you can buy properties under discretionary trusts, where banks in some cases don't factor the debt on those properties under the discretionary trust, and where you can repeatedly have the same borrowing capacity and continue buying under these trusts, right? So of course, please get advice around buying property around a discretionary trust. Please speak to a professional or an accountant with regards to this. I'm just giving you suggestions around this, but please do speak to a professional around that. So I hope that this video would inspire you to take action, that if you have a correct plan in place, you could actually generate passive income through investing. Investing isn't just about getting some money back from your taxes, or just buying in the hope that one day it'll go up in value, and you can get the benefits from that. If you plan it correctly, you can actually use it and replace your active income. So it's just to get you thinking along these lines. So if I have, at least to some extent managed to change your thinking, change your mindset, that there is something with this property investing thing. Yes, it might work for me. There could be opportunities here. Then yeah, just that's really, I'm really happy if I have done that. And if you want help with that type of thing, building out a property portfolio, planning it out, and generating this passive income, how can I do it for myself? If you want help with that, then that's exactly what I do. And get in touch and we can discuss further.